General Motors plans to sell electric cars. But did you know that they actually plan on becoming a major electric vehicle component supplier as well? Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Electric Viking. My name is Sam Evans. Fantastic to have you here on the channel. Welcome to all the new subscribers and welcome back to everyone else. I hope you had an amazing 2021. Thank you to all of those of you who have sent me messages. I really appreciate your support. I'm sorry I haven't replied to most of them. I've just gotten too many. I haven't had the time to be able to respond, but I do plan on responding. So, General Motors, I have to say, slightly surprised to see their ambitions to become an electric component supplier as well as an electric car supplier. Now, it's been more than 4 years since General Motors announced the plan to launch more than 20 new electric vehicles. And since then, very few have actually been sold. Now, at least one General Motors Hummer EV has been delivered to a customer, along with a handful of bright drop delivery vans and some Chevrolet Bolt EUVs before that production was halted due to battery fires. While General Motors prepares to launch an expected wave of electric vehicles over the next 3 years, including the extremely important for the brand Chevrolet Silverado electric truck, it's also been building up capacity to manufacture components, and it wants to sell those to any industry interested in going electric. Now, over the course of 2021, General Motors has announced a number of partnerships to explore the use of its electrification systems in areas such as rail, long-haul trucking, and aviation. Now, through its electric vehicle growth operations, GM is formalizing its efforts to sell components and systems to anyone that wants to use them. Now, Forbes says that in a way, this is almost a return to the General Motors of old, when a high proportion of the components in its vehicles were manufactured in-house by the automaker's parts divisions, most of which fell under various Delco brands such as Remy, Moraine, Electronics, and others. In other words, General Motors is trying to do a BYD, a Tesla, and actually become vertically integrated. They're doing the same thing by making their own batteries while in a JV with LG Chem. Now, in the late 1990s, General Motors rolled up most of those parts divisions and spun them off as an independent supplier that became known as Delphi. Now, over the past 2 decades, following a protracted bankruptcy reorganization, Delphi sold, spun off, or shut down many of those operations, and what remains is now known as Aptiv. Now, the spin-off of Delphi was in part driven by the belief that most of what those divisions were producing were commodity components that could be purchased cheaper elsewhere. Now, as General Motors and other legacy automakers make the transition from internal combustion to electric vehicles, the idea that they need to develop and own key intellectual property and be able to produce it at scale has come back to their plans. Now, since technologies such as batteries, motors, and electronics are still evolving quickly, none yet fall into the sphere of commodities, and General Motors and others feel that those systems need to be core competencies of an automaker, just as engines and transmissions were until, well, sort of recently, when they became outsourced to external companies. An automaker that can successfully develop these components can potentially grab third-party customers and build up economies of scale. General Motors believes that by 2030, there will be an addressable market of $20 billion for sales of electrification components to third parties. Now remember, vertical integration also enables you to much more accurately control the car's system in terms of updating it over the air in order to provide a Tesla-like service where over-the-air updates are common and actually effective. Now, one of the first markets that General Motors hopes to tackle is parts for conversion of vintage vehicles to electric propulsion. Now, I love this. I love seeing these old Porsches, these old classic cars being turned into electric classic cars. It has shown several concepts at recent Specialty Equipment Manufacturers Association, SEMA, shows of older General Motors vehicles powered by the motor and the battery pack from the Chevy Bolt. Now, the Chevy Performance and Aftermarket division will soon launch the Electric Connect and Cruise E-Crate package. Ford sold a similar package using the Mustang Mach-E motor following the 2021 SEMA show and quickly sold out of the first run. They were so popular. Now, GM is also partnering with Textron Ground Equipment to develop electric versions of the tugs used at airports to move aircraft, baggage tractors, and cargo belt loaders. GM has a long history of providing engines used by companies such as Mercury Marine for watercraft. It is now partnering with Seattle-based Pure Watercraft to integrate its components into electric boats. Now, if General Motors is successful, sales of electrification components could be an important part of GM's efforts to double its revenues in the next decade through new lines of business. And I've spoken about this before. GM has said that they're going to make billions of dollars through offering additional services. And they haven't actually specifically said what those are. Well, now we know. This is one of those key areas where General Motors hopes to make billions of dollars. Now, these include the Hydrotech fuel cell technology, Ultifi software platform, BrightDrop electric commercial vehicles, Ultium Charge 360 network, Ultium batteries, and also by doing things like providing vehicles to other manufacturers, such as Honda, who can't be asked actually making electric vehicles themselves. General Motors will make the car, Honda will slap the badges on the end and call it an Acura. So I find it very interesting here that GM is actually looking to expand and become much more vertically integrated, just like I said, Tesla and BYD. And it seems to me as though Volkswagen as well is attempting to do a similar thing. So it appears as though vertical integration is becoming the name of the electric game. Thanks for watching the channel. I'm looking forward to seeing you again on the next one. Bye-bye.